So like many of you out in the world, at one point or another, you've thought about connecting a console that maybe doesn't use fun little things like HDMI. You thought about using that to capture gameplay for something, or to play it on a larger TV that doesn't have the inputs that you're looking for. And maybe you find some of those cheap $5 converters on Amazon that say they're going to take your component signal or your composite signal and convert it into glorious, crispy HDMI, and it's going to be just like playing it on an emulator. Well, they're wrong. Originally, when I first started researching the concept of scaling with retro consoles, I too picked up these cheap innovations that really just seem to make everything easy. They claim to make everything easy, but like I said, that's actually not the case. They just kind of were horrible, and my original gameplay that I captured from like consoles like the GameCube, Game Boy Player using these cables was just garbage. Don't worry about it. Some consoles have options now that you can get them modded or plug in an adapter to the console itself, and it'll convert the signal to HDMI. But in some cases, there's a fun family of products that will really do the job well. And that's these guys. This is going to be kind of a love letter to the RetroTink Scaler line. I came across them in mid to late 2020, 2021 maybe. We were at the height of that thing that happened to the world, and I was really getting into the retro scene more and more. I had picked up a Sega Genesis and an SNES, and my cat's eating a paperclip. Those consoles, and you know, they really looked fine in their own right, but I wanted to really get that best signal out of them, so I reached out to a buddy, RetroSet Joe, and he pointed me towards the RetroTink family of products. And I initially started with the RetroTink Classic, which I thought was going to solve all my problems. It did not. That's on me, though. I didn't do my research. And eventually, I went with this. This one right here is the RetroTink 2X Pro. It's kind of the baseline model if you just are looking for something with either S-Video or composite or component connection. You plug it in, supply it with 5 volts of power here in the back. You can easily get that off of any modern TV that has a USB jack on it, and then outputs HDMI. Super quick, super simple. Love it to death. They do have variants of this, which I also picked up because A, I'm a sucker for good tech, and B, I mean, it's in clear, transparent purple. Like, that's like my aesthetic. This is the RetroTink 2X Mini. It uses the same technology that kind of powers the rest of the line, but this one is ideal for N64 consoles, and it even comes bundled with a very specific cable for the N64, so that's pretty awesome in and of itself. And it does come in a huge variety of colors, very much akin to the Funtastic series. And after that, I picked this guy up, specifically for use with the Sega Genesis, the RetroTink 2X SCART. This one is very much like the N64 one, dedicated for one input and one input only, this one being SCART, which I did not know was a legitimate thing until I started looking into this. And honest to God, right now I use SCART on my SNES and Genesis, and the picture quality that you get from them is just bonkers how good it is. It looks so good. SCART is so crisp and clear, and the audio is phenomenal. It's fantastic. I really like the SCART one. Like I said, I got a ton of mileage out of using the RetroTink 2X SCART. Mostly, again, because of how into the Genesis I was at the time. And then a couple months down the road, there was rumblings of a bigger, more powerful model that could do it all in one. And I was sitting there like, that would cost so much money. And it probably wouldn't do everything that we claimed it would. That's the RetroTink 5X, and I'm legitimately in love with this thing. The RetroTink 5X really fills a power vacuum for things like the FrameMeister or the OSSC. It's incredibly affordable compared to things like a FrameMeister, which is widely considered to be the top-of-the-line retro scaler. I legitimately don't even know if it was originally designed for that now that I'm thinking about it. The 5X utilizes automatic optimal phase algorithms to give you the sharpest image. You don't need to adjust anything on it. Like, it's essentially plug and play. One of the other really nice things about the 5X is that, like, if your console outputs any of these, it has a variety of different outputs that it can output at. Like, it gives you a 480, a 720, weirdly a 768, a 1440. It's so nice. You know, I've used it on my Wii, I've used it on a PS3, I've used it on a PS2, running PS1 discs, GameCube, N60. I've used it on a variety of consoles at this point, and never have I had any issue where things look scrunched, where things look wrong, anything like that. Colors are always vibrant and perfect, and just like, it works. It just works. If you're like me and decide to give it, you know, all inputs at the same time, like all these are filled, S-Video is filled, SCART's plugged in, and all the consoles are on at the same time, you might need to hit the input button every so often just to make sure it gets the right input. But like, there are times where I've just walked into my office, said, okay, I'm gonna stream this tonight, and all I've had to do is plug in the cable, turn on the console, and the 5X is like, hey, I know you're playing this. You can add things to it like scan lines, you can make it look like it's running on a CRT, you can output different resolutions. It's legitimately one of the greatest things to have in your toolkit if you're into retro gaming on modern hardware, or even if you've got like a VHS player that you want to connect to a modern TV. All you gotta do is plug it into the back, give it power, and output that HDMI to your modern TV, and you'll be able to watch your favorites, like Record of the Lodos War. It's extremely versatile, and good job, Mike Chi and everyone involved in the creation of RetroTink. These things are absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait to see what you guys do next.